pumpkin season, so I'll be making a pumpkin roll. And this recipe is inspired from the Libby's company's recipe. They used to print it on the back of their canned pumpkin. It's really delicious, very easy, a little time consuming, but well worth the time. So let's get started and I'll show you the recipe. For the batter, you'll need flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt, 3 eggs, your canned pumpkin, and cinnamon and cloves. And if you buy a can of 15-ounce pumpkin, that'll make 2 pumpkin rolls. For the filling, you'll need powdered sugar, cream cheese, butter, chopped walnuts, or the nuts of your choice. And for flavoring, you can use either vanilla or ground nutmeg. The pan I'm using for this is a jelly roll pan, and it's approximately 15 by 10 inches. And I'll line that with parchment paper and spray it with Pam baking spray. I like to use a piece of parchment that will hang over on each end. And then I'll go ahead and spray that as well with Pam cooking spray. And I'll set that aside until we're ready to pour the batter in. In a small bowl, combine your flour, which is 3/4 cup. And again, I'll have the full recipe for you at the end of this video. There's 1/2 and 1/4. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon each of cinnamon and cloves. A little bit of a heaping 1/2 teaspoon. And 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And whisk together. And set aside. And using a stand mixer, or you can always use a hand mixer, but it is nice to use a mixer here. 3 eggs. Try not to get shells in there. And 1 cup of sugar. And that's granulated sugar. And put it on about medium. I always like to use my rubber spatula and just wipe down the sides. And give it a check, and it looks nice and thick. And now add the pumpkin, and this is 2/3 cup. Put it right in there. And again, blend on medium-high speed until it's completely incorporated. And again, wipe down your bowl. Now add your flour mixture. Dump it right in there. And combine. And ready to pour into the pan. And spread evenly on your prepared pan. And I've just kind of folded the sides down and made little indentations in the corner with my rubber spatula. And now it's ready for the oven. For the cream cheese filling, we'll start with 8 ounces of cream cheese. And again, I'm using my stand mixer. I can get it to come out. There we go. And 6 tablespoons of butter. And I'm using powdered sugar, confectioner sugar. And you can use between 1/2 cup and 1 cup. I'm going to use a heaping 1/2 cup. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I think I mentioned earlier you can use nutmeg here instead, just for a little different flavor. And I will combine that on medium speed until it's nice and smooth. And that looks about done. I've mixed it for about 1.5 minutes. And you just want it nice and thick and creamy and smooth. I'm gonna use the ends of my parchment paper to lift it right out. And I'll start at one of my short ends and carefully roll with the parchment paper. And I'll place the roll on a wire rack and I'll let it cool completely. It usually takes about an hour. It's been about an hour, so I'll carefully unroll. And I'll use my rubber spatula and apply the filling. And I'll just put some blobs of it around and then spread it out. Okay, that looks pretty good. And really your goal here is just to try to get it as even as possible. It doesn't have to look pretty. And I have about 1 cup of toasted walnuts. And I'll just sprinkle them on. And you can use as many as you like. Now I'll roll it up again. This time I'll leave the parchment paper outside of the roll. And just take your time. And if it cracks a little bit, that's okay. I've got my pumpkin roll out of the fridge. It was in there for about an hour and it's nice and firm, and I'm just removing this plastic wrap. And I'll cut it right down the middle. And I like to use a serrated knife here. That way you can see how pretty it is. And I'll slice off a piece. And if you like, with each serving, you can garnish it with a little more sugar. There you have it, a delicious pumpkin roll, perfect for a holiday dessert or any dessert for that matter. And I did want to mention, this is best served at room temperature, or if it's straight out of the fridge, go ahead and microwave each piece for about 10 seconds. It really makes the flavors pop. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.